Hello students, today we are going to revise the first story of chapter 2, that is Low Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. It is written by Anise Jung and it is an excerpt apart from her long book titled Low Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood, and it is written by Anise Jung. So spring here actually compared with childhood because spring is the most beautiful season of the year. Similarly, childhood is the most beautiful phase of one's age. So metaphor is used here, and this is for some children who had lost their childhood, who are not able to enjoy their childhood, like the child laborers. Author refers spring as childhood. Low Spring has two stories in it. First is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. So it's about a child who picks garbage. Second is I Want to Drive a Car, means a child who wants to drive a car. The main characters of the first story, we have Sahibe Alam, who is a rag picker. Second is Mukesh, son of a bangle maker. So let's come to the first story. Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. Sahib's home was in Dhaka, was in the middle of green fields. They had left it many years ago and he doesn't remember it anymore. So they lived in Dhaka in green fields, but they had left it. There were many storms which destroyed their homes and fields. This was the reason they left it. So they left home and shifted to the cities in search of gold. Gold actually doesn't mean the gold metal, it means means of survival. Some money or something which can help them to be alive. Sahib's home was in Dhaka, as I have told you. So here he has shifted to the city. Look, he used to live in the green fields and now he is living in this kind of atmosphere. One day the author questioned Sahib and asked him the reason for shuffling through the garbage. Sahib replies that he has nothing else to do. The author said, "Why don't you go to school?" But he said, "I have nothing else to do, so I can't go to school, so I have to pick the garbage." The author suggests that he should go to school. She realizes that her advice is meaningless for the poor boy because he cannot afford schools. He replies that there are no schools in the area. He assures her that he will go to school when one is built near the house. So Sahib assured Anis Jung that when one house will be built around his house, near his house, he will be going there. The writer asks him jokingly that if she opened a school, would he attend it? Sahib says yes. So it was just a joke by the writer. After a few days, Sahib runs up to her to ask whether her school is ready, but Sahib has taken it seriously and he asked Anis Jung again, "Is your school ready?" The author replied that it takes a lot of time to build a school. She felt ashamed at making a false promise. The child was asking and she was not having any reply. She could not say, "I was joking." So she felt kind of embarrassed and ashamed. And I request all of you to please ignore the spelling of author. It is wrongly typed here. It is Audhor. Author asked him his name. He replied that his name was Sahibe Alam. So his complete name was Sahibe Alam. It actually means the Lord of the Universe. The author thought that the boy did not know the meaning of his name. And if he came to know that his name meant Lord of the Universe, he would not be able to believe it. He was just a rag picker who was having no value in the society, and his name meant that he was the owner of the universe. He went around the streets with a group of friends. It was like an army of boys who did not wear any footwear. They appeared in the morning like the morning birds. The rag pickers come in the morning because they can pick the garbage from there. Otherwise, the municipal persons come and they just take it. So they are like morning birds, a team of boys you can see in the picture. These are examples of rag pickers. The writer asked one of them that why was he not wearing any footwear? They usually do not wear footwear. So the author asked one of the boys, and the boy simply replied that his mother did not get them down from the shelf. He didn't say I don't have it. He said no, those are kept on the shelf and my mother doesn't get them down. Another boy who was wearing a different shoe in each foot, you can see in the picture, said that even if his mother would have given him the footwear, he would have thrown it away. He says कि if his mother gives him the footwears he doesn't wear, what can be the reason? The reason can be this. like he was wearing matchless shoes. Similarly, maybe those footwears were also damaged or matchless, and the child did not want to wear them. The writer asked the second boy the reason for wearing a different shoe in each foot. Writer ने पूछा कि तुमने अलग अलग shoes क्यों पहने हैं? He didn't reply. A third boy spoke that he was eager to get a pair of shoes. Third boy said that he have never owned a pair of shoes in his whole life. Author had seen many children walking barefoot in the cities as well as in the villages. She concludes that the reason of it being a tradition was a mere excuse, only excuse, explanation to hide the fact that they were so poor that they could not afford footwear. Anis Jung says that some people say that it is their tradition, they want to gain sympathy, they want to have some more footwears from the people by begging, but it's not reality, it's just an excuse by some of the people. The reality is they cannot afford it, the reality is they are so poor that they cannot afford it. The writer narrates a story told to her by a man from Udupi. On the way to school, he would cross a temple where his father worked as a priest. He would stop at the temple and pray to God to bless him with a pair of shoes. Now, author tells us, Anis Jung tells us a story from Udupi where a child's father was a priest. At that time, the child could not afford shoes, and he always went to God to pray for a pair of shoes. And 30 years later, the writer visited the town and the temple. Now the place was nearly empty. A young boy came running. He was wearing grey colored school uniform, socks, and shoes. The priest could now afford shoes for his children. So now, after 30 years, the condition of priests has been changed. Earlier, priests used to be very poor; they could not afford footwears, but now their condition is improved. But if we talk about the rag pickers, they still remain shoeless. They are as poor as they were uh, many years ago. They are so poor they cannot afford shoes. The writer describes the area where these rag picker boys live, Simapuri. This is located on the outskirt boundary of Delhi. Was very different from the capital, so you can see in the picture, although they are very close to capital New Delhi, but they are far away from it. If we talk about facilities and lifestyle and all the kind of facilities provided by the government too, there are around 10,000 rag pickers living illegally in Simapuri. Okay, they are not allowed, but they are living. For the last 30 years, they have occupied the area without permission. That is why they are living illegally. The politicians of the area have provided them ration voter identity cards, and the politicians who just want to take benefit of the people, they have given them the ration card so that they can get their names into the voters list and they can get more votes. So they are not asking them to go out from there. They got groceries through ration cards, and in return, they cast their votes in favor of the politician who had helped them. So, again, it is a political game. The author asked a group of women that why did they leave their homes in Dhaka. They replied that if they were able to satisfy the hunger of their families and sleep well at night, they were happier to live in Simapuri than their fields in Dhaka, which were ruined and gave them no food. So, when on asked, the ladies said that they left Dhaka, their green fields, because of storms, everything was destroyed and they could not eat food. Here, at least, they were getting food. These people traveled in search of food, and wherever they found it, they set temporary homes and started living there. Their children kept on growing there, and gradually they also start helping their parents in seeking means of survival. It is just the future of the children. They don't go to school, they don't get education. They just grow up with the adults and become partners in survival. Sahib was happy to say that sometimes he found a rupee and even a 10 rupee note in the dump. Sometimes, by mistake, we throw many useful things in the garbage, which is found by the rag pickers later. They kept on searching, hoping to find more. When they get any 10 rupee note, they kept on searching. Maybe they get another one. For the children, the garbage dump was wrapped in wonders, while for their parents, it was a means of survival. These are very beautiful lines. Meaning of garbage is different for children and for adult. For children, it is just a game which is wrapped in wonders, surprises. Every day they get something useful. But for parents, it is their livelihood, it is their means of survival. One winter morning, author saw Sahib standing by the fence of a club. Fence is this, like you can see in the picture, made up of wires. He was watching a tennis. Sahib liked the game but could not play it. He could not go inside and play. He told that he went inside the club when it would be closed, when nobody would be there. Then Sahib could go at the mercy of the guard. He was allowed to take swings by the guard there. Otherwise, the slum children are not allowed in these kind of places. The writer saw that Sahib was also wearing tennis shoes. He told that someone gave him the shoes. He had not bought it. Author figured out that these shoes would have been discarded by a rich boy due to a hole in them. So this was the reason he was given the shoes, because a rich boy was not going to wear these kind of shoes. But Sahib walked barefoot, and to wear a shoe even with a hole was like a dream for him. Getting these kind of shoes with a hole even was a dream come true for him, because he had never owned a pair of shoes. So for him, these shoes with a hole was like a dream come true, was the most valuable thing for him. One morning, the author met Sahib, who was on his way to the milk booth. He was holding a steel container. He told her that he had got a job at the nearby tea stall. So one day when author met Sahib, Sahib had left rag picking and he had started working at a tea stall. Author asked him if he liked the job. Author asked him, "Are you happy?" As she could see that he had lost the carefree look, because she saw at her face, at Sahib's face, that he was not happy. Now he was looking very serious. He was burdened with responsibility, working under someone. Earlier, as a rag picker, Sahib would carry his own bag and was his own master. Now he was no longer his own master. So he was not happy because he was not no longer his own master.